The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
This is Beyond Confidence with your host, Divya Parekh. Do you want to live a more fulfilling life? Do you want to live your legacy and achieve your personal, professional, and financial goals? Well, coming up on Divya Parekh's Beyond Confidence, you will hear real stories of leaders, entrepreneurs, and achievers who have stepped into discomfort, shattered their status quo, and are living the life they want. You will learn how relationships are the key to achieving your aspirations and financial goals. Moving your career or business forward does not have to happen at the expense of your personal or family life, or vice versa. Learn more at www.divyaparekh.com, and you can connect with Divya at contact@divyaparekh.com. This is Beyond Confidence, and now here's your host, Divya Parekh.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, and I'm so excited to be here with y'all because I can tell you when I'm doing the podcast, I love it because I get that chance to be with you. And I want to thank each and every one of you personally for getting the books, because either when you get Expert to Influencer or The Entrepreneur's Garden or any of the other books that we have written and published, partial profits from those books go to kiva.org. And that is for entrepreneurs all across the globe. And here's what I'll share with you. Really, really exciting. So one book was released in 2017. One book was released in 2019. And yet recently found out both of them were like #1 bestsellers. And it's just amazing when things stand the test of time and do so well. And also I'm going to highly encourage you and challenge you to give that 1 hour of your time every month as a kindness to somebody else, with no strings attached and no expectations. So now let's bring in our guest, Beverly Williams. Welcome, Beverly.
Why, thank you for inviting me. I so appreciate the invitation.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you with us. So you definitely have a very impressive background. And so Beverly, tell us, do you recall any moment or any person from your childhood that left a mark on you?
Oh, absolutely. I remember vividly. My parents, obviously, they were the first to influence me as a woman. My mother, well, not as a child, but the woman I became, my mother influenced me. My father, a tenacious, single-minded individual, encouraged me to be whatever I wanted to be and to work hard. But my 7th grade teacher, I think it was 7th or 8th grade English teacher, Mrs. Jessie Wilkerson, she had an indelible mark. She left an indelible mark on me and had an unbelievable influence. She was a very stern woman, but she made sure that the students in her classes learned about language, the roots of language, the beginnings of language, and how you could use that going forward to determine what a word that you didn't know, you were unfamiliar with and hadn't seen before, how you could figure out what it meant or what it might mean. And it was just a life-altering experience for me, whether the origins were Greek or Roman, Latin. It was just, wow. And from then on, I always liked to read, but I was just a voracious reader, and I like to learn about new things. So yes, I'm like putty. I'm easily influenced by the right people.
Well, that's a good way to sharing that how you were such a avid reader and that your mom was an influence. And so many times we as parents or we as moms or we as like aunts, uncles, we forget that we can influence children. So it's important that if you have any child in your environment or circle, that you be that influence to them. So it's beautiful what you're sharing. And I'll tell you, I love reading because I've got so many books in my house. I think so I've got more books in my house than anything else.
No, I have no biological children, but I have about 15 godchildren or children who have adopted me. And my godchildren, especially my twin godsons, they will remind me of what I did when they were little boys. You took us to Barnes and Noble and you took us to buy books and you took us here and you took us there and you took us there to get ice cream. You don't know the effect that you have on the people you come in contact at all ages. And I think that was something that I was surprised by. I did what I did because I wanted to and I loved them. But for them to remember it after all these years is just, I mean, it made me fill up, quite frankly.
Yes. And it's amazing that when you leave a mark on someone, it is so beautiful. And I'll tell you, I do the kindness challenge. I've been asking my audience to do that for a long time, and they will send me these stories, and it just fills me up. It's tiny little acts, and it doesn't have to be huge or anything like that. And one of the stories I always love to tell is that I go for a walk, and there is this woman. She rides her bike, and everyone she meets, she smiles and says good morning so enthusiastically and energetically that I look for her every morning that I go. So never underestimate the power of influence. So tell me, as you grew up, after being a reader, did you have any other interests?
Well, when I think it was about the 6th grade, I thought I was going to be a track star. I ran the 40-yard dash and came in first. And I was like, wow, I can do this. Well, the next year, I came in almost last. So that wasn't for me. I thought I'd be an actress because I did, around the same time, I did a performance. I was, the lead in a junior high school performance, and I really loved it. So, but that didn't stick either. I always wanted to become an attorney. And after going to graduate school and getting a master's in public administration and working for a large urban city and the city's Board of Education, I went to law school at night. And I loved it. I worked a full-time job during the day, and I went to law school at night. And the people I met there, I'm in contact with. We get together every, few months, once a year, depending on what our schedules allow. And I've been very fortunate. I've worked like a dog. I've worked hard. My father wasn't wrong when he said, you can get whatever you want if you work hard. It's true. If you work hard and you don't make let's call it imprudent decisions, you're likely to be successful. You're likely to enjoy the employment path that you've decided to embark on.
Yeah, no, that is amazing and very inspiring that you loved what you loved and you did it at night. So when you were going through the schooling to become an attorney, what would you say were your couple of lessons that still stick with you?
the lesson that sticks with me most is what I mentioned that my father taught me. You can do anything and be anything you want to be if you work hard enough, if you put in the effort. And education was very important to him because he only had an 8th grade education. So he wanted his children to be better educated than he was. And for the most part, we were, or we are. But I was more, I guess, more ambitious, more curious, more, I'm more focused. And that's one of the things that you have to be. If you go to law school, you have to be focused.
Yeah.
It's rewarding in that what you learn, you can use elsewhere. You don't have to become an attorney. If after you complete law school, you graduate, you decide that's not what you want to do, it will open the door for other opportunities, usually. But I didn't go to law school to become an attorney. I went to law school to become a labor arbitrator.
Interesting.
But I got an opportunity to clerk for the Chief Justice of my state Supreme Court. And although I didn't know anything about what that meant, I was told you can't turn that down. If they offer you the job, you have to take it. And I just bought a house.
Was this right out of school?
Right. It didn't pay much money. And I just bought a house. I don't know how I did it. I really don't know how I did it. The clerkship only lasted for a year, but fortunately I bought a 2-family house, so I had tenants. And I don't always listen to people when they give me advice, but a friend of my mother's advised me not to buy a 1-family house first, to buy an income producing property. And I think if I hadn't done that, I would have been in trouble if I had taken that clerkship. But it was a rewarding experience. The other two people I clerked with, we've remained friends over these decades, and I'm a better person for it.
Well, fantastic. So after you finished your clerkship, did you go to corporate or did you start your own practice?
Oh, no. I was fortunate. Before I was offered the clerkship, I had been offered an opportunity with a national labor and employment law firm, Epstein, Becker and Green. They're headquartered in New York and Washington, D.C. And that's where I wanted to go to work. I didn't want the clerkship because the firm paid more money. And they said, no, we want you to go and take the clerkship. We want our attorneys to be, developed and to have that experience and exposure. So they held the job open until I finished my clerkship and I went to work there. And I worked for them for almost 10 years. And then I went to work for a Fortune 500 company. And that I enjoyed too. I have been very fortunate that I've enjoyed each job that I've had. And I'd like to tell you that it was because, I did all the right things. I didn't do all the right things, but I did work hard, and I had a reputation for being a person of integrity, an honest person, a person of dignity. I'm an acquired taste. I'm not for everyone. One of the things I do now, and I've done for a while, is to investigate claims of workplace issues like discrimination, abuse of some kind, whether there's compliance with federal and state laws. And I'm the one you want to look into it. If you're really serious about finding the answers, I am like a dog with a bone. I do not stop until I'm satisfied that I know what's going on and that the right people are being penalized, going to be penalized in some fashion, because everyone who's accused is not, it's not justified in being penalized.
Right. And that's good, right? Because that's what justice system is all about. It's about the fairness and justice being done.
Exactly.
So as we are talking about, I know that you had a job, you had a reputation, and you also talk about that a lot of people, let's say, especially like with a lot of layoffs happening, people are experiencing mental stress and a lot of pressure. So now they're going and looking for new jobs and doing interviews. And I know you talk about that. So what tips do you have for people to ace their job interviews?
Let me say this. After I wrote my book, one of the men that I clerked with took his life.
Oh,
He was a peer reviewer on my book. And
so sorry to hear that.
thank you. He was a very special person. He helped me whenever I asked for it. When I heard that he had taken his life, I regretted not focusing more on preparing mentally, emotionally, and physically for a job search. That's not why he took his life. But I know how demoralizing it can be to continue to submit resumes and either not hear anything or get negative results, no's. And I started the book, fortunately, by trying to get people to manage expectations and prepare themselves for what might be an arduous undertaking, depending on the economic situation that they're looking in. They need to prepare themselves, have a routine, exercise, listen to music, meditate, whatever it is that will bring you peace before you start your day. Do that. Because when you start to look for a job, you should be single-minded, as I said before, and be focused. You should plan. First of all, prepare. And you prepare yourself by getting yourself together as far as exercising, eating in the morning, having a healthy breakfast,